Great. Okay, well, here we go. So here we have Nick Benias, who is out of Minnesota. Nick, how's it going?
Good, good.
Great, excellent. We got Nick basically started. We got you started, I guess, maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago at this point.
Yeah, 4 weeks ago.
Okay, cool. So I guess we're basically just going to kind of have a quick conversation about how you found us and how the program's been so far and kind of what made you decide to get involved. So, other people kind of interested in it can get a little bit of insight on it. But how did you actually come across the Roof Sales Mastery Program?
I'm glad you asked. Like, I was thinking about that because, I spent a lot of time on the plane yesterday. I had a couple of planes. I was like, how did I come across this roof mastery thing? And it happened to be, it was just an ad on Facebook that I clicked on and went right to your page. And I was looking through everything that you guys have posted, and then you had your webinar that I, sat in on, and that was talking about how you could help supplement and virtually help reboot your system. And during the storm season, you have a certain amount of downtime where you're like, well, you're kind of scratching because you want to know, the more information that you can, inundate yourself, especially in this industry and sales, is constantly growing, constantly getting new ideas, and based on the conversations that we had on the phone prior to signing up for this particular program, we were talking about how a lot of the other programs that I've used in the past were, they seem manufactured, they seem more interested in selling you additional products, things like
Yeah.
that. Where here it's more information based, it's more getting reaffirming everything. Like, I've been doing this for 5 years, so obviously, reaffirming what I know versus new ideas, and that's pretty important to me. To where what we've been doing, it's a lot of back and forth, a lot of playing with ideas and tweaking, and
Yeah.
it's pretty much like turning a V6 into a V8, which seems to be a lot. It's a lot of fun.
Cool. That's great to hear. So when you kind of got started, like what were you really looking for in your business? I guess specifically um, to get better at the job. Like what were you kind of what got you excited about learning more? I guess about how to dominate in this industry.
Well, I think anybody in a sales position, they should always be out there reaching and looking for new and different ways to, you know, talk to people, be in certain circles of people who have been successful in the past, and are willing to, share their success. Virtually this whole program, from what I've been going through, is pretty much just going through your success story, which is ultimately what you don't get with a lot of other training programs. Is they're not going to show you how they were successful at it. They're going to tell you about their book. They're going to tell you about how you could achieve buying the buying the book, and
Yeah.
you know and by the time they get to the end of it, they go, well, good luck, have
Yeah.
fun reading the book. I'm not going to explain to you, the hardships that we went through. I'm not going to explain to you, you know, what I possibly ran into, where, you know, objections and things like that is so hard to overcome as a salesman, and especially in this industry when there is absolutely nothing out there. I'm literally, when I talk to you, it's like talking to a fellow, door knocker, say I caught you on the road, stuff like that. I mean, it's been a pretty awesome experience, just, playing back and forth.
Yeah, that's awesome. So one thing that I like that you're able to say about, I guess, the material and the content is really, how it's different from some of the other stuff. Albeit that there's hardly really anything else out there really that's in our market like this. But would you say that the information that you're getting is less theoretical and more actionable? Like you can use it right away, like as far as approaches and techniques and all that kind of stuff?
One thing I do, let me put it in this format. It's learnable.
Yeah.
It's not something that's going to be like mind bending. And I mean, you do have some pretty awesome pictures. I don't know if you can see that or not, but you make it very, very user friendly for our industry. And I mean, obviously, the guys that are in our industry they don't hold PhDs in roofing and things like that.
Right.
Um, this is an industry based on ideas, principles, sales, making organization. That's another big one. Um, so as far as being able to help people identify what their problems are and be able to at least put it into numbers and be able to play with it that way, so that way you can ultimately achieve your goals easier because you know pretty much showed me how, in basic basic math, if I do this and this, then I'm going to ultimately get to my final goal, which has really helped me out a lot.
Awesome. That's great. So, what about it's not cheap, but I mean, how did you feel at first about, the investment?
The the investment, um, virtually all I can tell anybody who's looking at getting into this program is anytime that you can invest in yourself, I would say do it. Um, I have this, strong family values, things like that. And my dad has always told me that if you find something that's going to be a solid investment into your future, as far as education, knowledge, growing in your industry, sometimes you got to bite the bullet and just do the things that you have to do. Because to tell you the honest truth, Becca, anybody who's watching this video, this guy right here, I'm going to be your biggest competition this year because I wasn't afraid to make that investment. So when you see me in a neighborhood,
Watch out.
you're not going to get in the neighborhood. You're not going to get the neighbors, and I'm going to knock your signs.
I love it. That is great. So, if you're talking to somebody right now that's kind of on the fence, they like what they see so far, but maybe they're thinking, oh, right now isn't a good time. We just got off a dry season. Like, if they're on the fence right now, like, honestly, like, what would your advice be to them?
Well, my advice to them is, what are you doing to make what are you doing to make yourself better? What are you doing if you have all the answers? Why are you even asking these questions?
Right.
If you had all the answers, fine, you don't do it. But I would honestly say that because of this program and the new fresh ideas that you provided me, it's well worth my investment because comes as soon as storm season does hit, it's going to be a lot easier for me to get right in there. I'm going to have more answers than anybody else will, which makes it a lot easier for me to, not have to deal with the competition.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, I guess, I don't know, what else is really something that somebody would want to be or would be concerned about, I guess? I mean, what ultimately, I guess, made you decide to pull the trigger and enroll?
Well, for me personally, it's because I'm always out there looking for, I always read materials, watch videos. I like to do the seminar stuff, webinars, stuff just for new and fresh ideas.
Yeah.
Um, but of course, that's my mentality. I work very hard at making sure that all my sales is sharp, and my I can be able to portray myself professionally and be able to you know speak professionally about what I do constantly.
Right.
Um, in the past, I mean, if you go back to year one, Nick and I, it's like it's night and day, and that has a lot to do with programs like yours, reading books. I mean, you can name off some of the best authors in the world, and I've probably read it front to back 1,000 times.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. See, that's terrific. That's the truth though. I mean, if you want to get better, you have to do something different than what you've been doing, or you have to challenge yourself to grow and invest in yourself like you said. So that's totally on point. I guess I don't know. Really, the last couple questions I guess I would really ask is I know we're only even a third of the way through like some of the material, but quality wise so far, like with the information that you've gotten and some of the scripts and approaches and theories and philosophies about how to approach different areas of this business, like the lead generation and closing and adjuster meetings and all that stuff. I mean, how would you rate the quality of the actual material itself?
Like I was saying before, like I do a lot of reading, I do a lot of material, a lot of going through scripts and things like that. But the way that you actually written your program out for me and whoever else is going to get this, I would have to say learnability is by far probably one of the easiest programs that I've ever been involved with.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that is good news. I'm glad that, because that's the whole point is we really want to provide guys like you and then business owners with the resources and, the actual usable content, material, approaches, techniques, whatever it is, to really go out and use it right away to get better results because, you know, you know what it's like in this business. I mean, every single door you knock on potentially is worth like 10 grand, and in your pocket it's worth like 2 grand on average, sometimes way more than that. And so, you know, when you can increase your efficiency and your success in just one or two key areas across the board, whether it's your door knocking or your closing or your, supplementing or whatever, it makes a huge difference. And that's kind of our goal is just making you a little bit better here and there in all these places. And when you're doing 100 jobs a year, like that makes, as a salesman, that makes a huge difference. If you're a business owner and you're doing 500 jobs or 800 jobs a year, like imagine if you were 10% better across the board, right? You know, so cool. So, all in all, if someone's saying, should I do it? Is it thumbs up or thumbs down, Nick?
Probably the best advice I could give anybody is, I always go back to, you know, if you were a bull rider and you climbed over that fence and you had the balls to get on that bull and sit on him in the chute, you better just nod your head and just let it happen.
Yeah, I love it. Well, that is terrific. Well, I guess that's all I got for you, unless you have any other side comments or anything like that. That's all I got with my intense interview here.
Right. And on a side note, you know, when we do these, it's always a good time. Yeah, Becca really makes it fun. It's not like you spend 2 hours and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe she's still reading stuff.
Uh,
Um, she definitely makes this a fun experience while being able to professionally explain what your concerns are, what your particular concerns are relating what you're struggling with, what you feel like you need to get better at. It's definitely worth spending an hour a day with Becca Switzer. That's for sure.
I love it.